To be successful, you have to really want to do things. This is something that always comes to mind when I think about it. Being on a ship is like this. You can have the best ship and crew, but if you don't set a direction and move forward, you'll just float. Today, I'd like to talk about that. How to push yourself, how to go beyond the normal to achieve the extraordinary. Think about a person who is a lot like any of us, standing at a choice point. We all face times when we have to make decisions that shape who we are. At these times, it's not enough to just make choices. You have to make the right ones. This has nothing to do with picking out breakfast food. These are the decisions that scare us, push us, and take us out of our comfort zones. You see, we all have a strong force inside us that we don't always use. It means being able to force ourselves to do what needs to be done, even if we really want to put it off or avoid it. When did the last time you really didn't want to do something? It could have been a tough talk or a job that looked impossible to finish. We've all been there, right? That time when it would be easier to say, "I'll do it tomorrow." But here's the thing. Tomorrow turns into tomorrow, and tomorrow turns into tomorrow, and tomorrow turns into tomorrow, and tomorrow, and that little thing turns into a mountain. This is when taking action is the difference between success and staying where you are. The first step to success is taking action. Not only does having knowledge or talent matter, but also putting that knowledge and ability to good use. Einstein was very smart, but if you don't do anything, it's like having a collection full of books that you never read. How then can we use this force? How do we get ourselves to do things even when they're hard? That's the trip we're taking today. To understand the what, you need to know the why. It's about learning to accept the pain that comes with growth, because trust me, growth and comfort don't go together. Think about a dream, goal, or something you've been putting off. That is important to remember as we start this conversation, because today isn't just about ideas and words, it's about change. You have to change "I can't" to "I will." Trust me, the magic happens on the way from "I can't" to "I will." Let's get into this together, shall we? Today, let's talk about how we can use this power within us to turn things around and really sail toward our dreams. Remember that the path is just as important as the end goal, and this trip, my friends, is about learning how powerful self-discipline really is. It has the power to make things happen and shift our lives. This trip is not for people who are easily scared. It's for people who are ready to get dirty, work hard, and roll up their sleeves. The kind of work that most people avoid. Not us, though. We're not the same. "I am stronger than you" is something we are ready to say when faced with a task. But that doesn't mean it will be easy. Everyone would do it if it were simple. It will be worth it, though. You can have the life you've always dreamed of if you follow through with your plans and work hard. A life where you are in charge of your luck and not a subject of it. Start this journey with ready hearts and open minds. Let's make a promise to all of our goals and to ourselves that we will do what we need to do, no matter what. Remember that the only boundaries we have are the ones we set for ourselves. We need to break down those walls and reach new heights. It's not just about the goal, it's also about who we become as we work toward it. That's what it's all about, getting stronger, smarter, and better as people. Are you ready to take the first step? Are you ready to do it against your will? I think you can and will do it, because I believe in you. Let's go on this trip together, day by day, step by step, until we reach the highest point of our abilities, the amazing power of self-discipline. Friends, self-discipline is the engine that runs on its own. The power inside us is what gets us out of bed on cold mornings when everything seems against us. It's what keeps us going when all the signs say to stop. It's not just a trait, it's how they live their lives. Take a moment to picture a world where everyone was very self-disciplined. Think of people who keep every promise they make. Think about the accomplishments and changes. I know what you're thinking. That world sounds great, maybe even too good to be true. But here's the secret. You are the start of that world. It starts when you decide to make your life your own. So you can see that self-discipline means being responsible. You can't use reasons. You have to make choices. You have to say no to things that hurt you and yes to things that help you grow. You have to promise yourself something and keep it. Being responsible is easy when other people are around, but real self-discipline is what you do when no one is around. The decisions you make in the quiet, when no one is around, that really show who you are. Let's talk about what it means to be self-disciplined now. Not only do you want to get things done, but you also want the peace of mind that comes from knowing you're in charge of what you do. You'll feel proud when you look back on your day and see that you stuck to your plans. Being sure of yourself grows every time you keep a word. Friends, this trust is worth a lot. It takes over your whole life and lights it up like the sun in the morning. Still, let's not forget that self-control is hard too. That muscle needs to be worked out all the time, and like any muscle, it can get tired and feel stressed. However, that only means it's getting stronger. You are getting stronger in your self-discipline every time you resist the urge to give up. This will help you reach your goal faster. You are showing yourself that you can stick with things even when they are hard. This is a win in and of itself. When did the last time you really pushed yourself? No, not in your safe zone. You might have said no to a temptation that would have stopped you in your tracks or worked on a project late into the night. How did you feel afterward? Maybe worn out, but also excited, right? How that makes you feel is the power of self-discipline. Being self-disciplined also means being able to wait to get what you want. Seeing the bigger picture is important if you want to know that the pain of discipline now is nothing compared to the pain of sorrow later. It's about picking long-term happiness over short-term ease. This is where a lot of people fail because they take the easy way instead of the right one. Not you, though. What brought you here? You're ready to take the right path, no matter how hard it may be. Always keep in mind that being self-disciplined does not mean putting limits on your life. It means having a balanced life. It's about knowing when to push yourself and when to take a break. You should pay attention to your heart, mind, and body. It's about getting along. You don't just master a skill when you master self-discipline, you master life itself. To be clear, being self-disciplined doesn't mean you'll never mess up or fail. We're all people after all. It's about how you handle those mistakes. You can either let them beat you or use them as stepping stones to bigger and better things. Every failure or problem is a chance to be more self-disciplined, to pick yourself back up, dust yourself off, and keep going with even more drive. Let's use the power of self-discipline as we move forward now. Understand that it's what will help us reach our full ability. It gives us the power to make our dream lives come true. It connects us to the place we want to be. If we are self-disciplined, we can reach any goal or dream, no matter how big or far away it seems. I want you to remember that self-discipline is your friend, your power, and your guide as we come to the end of this section. You can't get through the dark without it. It's what keeps you going when things get tough. Let's keep going on this path with the goal of getting more self-disciplined every day, one choice at a time. We can do the impossible together. Today, let's talk about a problem that a lot of us have, putting things off and being lazy. There's more to these than just being a bother. They steal time and slow down progress. The words later and someday creep up on us and tell us sweet lies. But I'm here to tell you that later kills dreams and someday steals opportunities. Putting things off and being lazy are like quicksand. We sink deeper and find it harder to get out of the water the more we give up. Think about it now. I'll start tomorrow is something we've all said a lot of times, But every day brings its own issues. There's a dangerous loop that stops us from going forward and spins us around. The good news is that we can get out of the circle just as easily as we get into it. What is the key? Do something. Action right away and on purpose. It's the opposite of being lazy and the cure for putting things off. You might be thinking, but it's hard to start. You're right, it is hard. Often, the hardest part is getting started. Don't forget, though, that every trip starts with one step. It's about taking the first little step. You only need to take one step. The magic is in building motion from the start. It feels like pulling a car. It takes all your strength to push it off the ground at first, but it gets easier once it starts moving. How should we begin? At first, by making goals that are clear and attainable, things we want to achieve that make us excited and fire us up. When you know what you want, you can focus better and avoid putting things off. Then, break these goals down into smaller jobs that you can handle. They are so small that it almost seems silly not to do them. That's the idea behind tricking the mind. Make the job look so simple and easy that putting it off is impossible. What about being lazy? Lack of a strong why makes people more likely to be lazy. There needs to be a strong why that makes you want to do something, otherwise you won't. When you're feeling lazy, your why should shine like a lighthouse and remind you of the bigger picture, the reason you're doing what you're doing. Don't forget, though, that it's not just about the outside goals. Taking care of yourself is also important. You'll feel better about yourself every time you stop putting things off and do something instead. I am worth the work. My dreams are worth the work, you're telling yourself. And believe me, there's nothing better than seeing yourself in the mirror and knowing you kept your word. Being proud of yourself like that changes lives and makes countries. Let's also talk about the world around us. It is very important for getting over putting things off and being lazy. Keep your goals close to you and spend time with people who motivate you to take action. Make an area that makes it easier to start and harder to stop working, that makes people want to be productive. Remember that the things around us often affect what we do. Make yours a place where success grows. Also, don't forget how important practice is. A strong, well-organized habit can protect you from the attacks of putting things off and being lazy. You don't have to waste time trying to figure out what to do next when you have a plan. It's all set up for you. This makes room in your mind for creation and getting things done. Now, these problems can't be solved with raw force alone. It's also about getting to the bottom of things. Ask yourself, why am I putting this off? What do I want to avoid? Many times, putting things off is a sign of fear. Fear of failing, fear of succeeding, or fear of leaving our safety zone. When you face these fears, you'll find that you can't put things off anymore. That being said, don't be too hard on yourself when you give in to lazy habits or putting things off. Don't forget that we're all people. It's important not to stay in that place. Accept it, learn from it, and then get back to work with more energy. No matter how small your win is, celebrate it. Every job done and every moment of not being lazy is a win. Enjoy these and treasure them. They're the steps that lead to bigger and better things. It's clear that the tiny things are often the ones that make the biggest difference. It has to do with habits. Habits, yes. Those little things we do every day that we don't really think about. They might not seem important by themselves, but when added up, they can change our lives. This is the point where personal growth either grows or dies, and so on. Habits are like the threads that make up a fabric. Each thread may not seem important on its own, but when put together, they paint a picture of our lives. How good that picture is depends on how good our habits are. A strong and beautiful life is built on good habits. A life built on bad habits, on the other hand, is like a fabric that is easily unraveled. How many of our days do we spend without thinking? The day is over before we know it, because we already did our daily tasks. Now think about what would happen if those habits and routines were all meant to help you reach your goals. That's the power of making habits on purpose. But how do we make good habits? It starts with being aware. First, you need to pay close attention to your own life. Ask yourself, what are my habits right now? Do they help me or get in the way? Being this self-aware is the first step toward making changes that matter. It's best to start small once you know what habits you need to change. We try to change everything about our lives too quickly. It's like trying to lift something that's too heavy for us. It can't go on forever. Start with small changes that you can handle instead. Want to work out more? Do not start with an hour at the gym. Instead, go for a 10-minute walk every day. Small wins give you momentum, and momentum helps you reach bigger goals. But making new habits doesn't just mean doing things. It also means unlearning things. It has to do with breaking bad habits that don't help you. Now is the time for discipline, the kind of discipline we talked about before. It means making decisions that are in line with your new goals, even if they are hard. Don't forget that safety can stop you from growing. When we talk about growth, let's not forget how important stability is. Being consistent is the key to making habits stick. What we do over and over again forms our lives, not what we do once in a while. This could mean giving up small things, like staying up later or turning off the TV so you can work on a project. In the big picture, these sacrifices are what it takes to be successful, even if they seem important at the time. Now, changing habits isn't just something you do by yourself. Spend time with people who already have the habits you want to pick up. We are social beings after all, and the people around us have a big impact on us. It's much easier to become dedicated and focused if you're around people who are those qualities. Remember that habits shape who we are as well as the things we do. You're getting closer to your goal every time you do a good habit. You're also telling yourself, this is who I am. You're making a name for yourself as someone who acts, values discipline, and aims for greatness. This identity turns into a self-fulfilling promise that moves you forward. But let's be honest, it's hard to change. People say that old habits are hard to break. There will be times when you fail and want to go back to the old ways. It's important to remember why you started in those situations. Think about your hopes, dreams, and plans for the future. Don't forget that every habit, no matter how small, is a step toward your goal. If you make a mistake, don't be hard on yourself. Growth doesn't happen in a straight line. It's a mix of ups and downs, wins and losses. Being able to get back up every time you fall is more important than the fact that you fell. You're making your willpower, focus, and dedication to your new habits stronger. Let's talk about how practice can help you. A good schedule can help you stick to your habits. It helps you form new habits and get rid of old ones by giving your day order and a flow. It's like a framework for your life. This scaffolding helps you reach your goals by giving you support as you build new habits. Don't rush into making these habits, and give yourself time as you start. Habits don't form overnight. They take time, repetition, and determination. But the benefits are worth the work. Imagine waking up one day and realizing that the habits you used to have trouble with are now easy for you. That means you've really grown as a person. Use the power of habits to help you. Let's see them for what they are, tools that can either help us or hurt us. Let's be smart about the habits we pick, carefully grow them, and see how they change our lives day by day. Keep in mind that your habits are already forming your future as we come to the end of this section. The decisions you make and the habits you form are what make up your life story. Let's write a story about how we succeed, grow, and become the best versions of ourselves. It's possible to do anything if we have the right habits. Small steps, every day, will help us build those habits until they bring us the life we've always dreamed of. There will always be problems along the way as we try to form new habits and grow as people. It seems like life is always putting our new habits and focus to the test. But let's look at things from a different angle. What if we see hurdles not as problems, but as chances to learn and grow? There are chances to learn, grow, and get better. It's just a part of life to face problems. They're like gym weights. We can't get stronger if we don't lift them. When we're faced with a task, we can either run away in fear or step up to the challenge. When we face a task head-on, we're not only getting past that particular problem, but we're also becoming more resilient, improving our problem-solving skills, and pushing the limits of what we can do. Think about some of the most important things that have happened in business, art, science, or history. Were they born because things were easy and comfortable? They didn't start out as a task. They were born because they had to solve a problem or get past a hurdle. To become great, you have to face tough challenges. How, though, do we turn problems into chances? It starts with how you think. A task that is seen through the eyes of doubt and fear is a wall. When the same problem is seen as a chance to learn and grow, it turns into an opportunity. What can I learn from this? How can this make me better? Is what it means. If you want to know a secret, the most successful people don't always have an easy time. They are the ones who face them, learn from them, and use them to get to a better place. They know that every problem has a solution that will help them move forward, get better, and come out stronger and smarter. I'll tell you the truth now. Doing things that are hard is not easy. You have to be brave, determined, and ready to leave your comfort zone to do it. But remember that we grow the most when we step outside of our safe zones. You will not only find success, but also satisfaction when you push yourself past what you thought was possible. Being able to change is another important trait for turning problems into chances. Being able to change is very important in a world that is always changing. When you face a challenge, ask yourself, how can I approach this differently? What new strategies can I use? Being flexible in how you think and what you do will help you get past problems more easily, turning them from roadblocks to speed bumps on the way to success. Also, don't forget how powerful it is to keep going. Most problems can't be solved in one jump. They usually take long-term work and not giving up when things get hard. This is what sets winners apart from quitters and champions from others who didn't make it. It means being determined to keep going even when the road ahead looks dark and scary. The thing about obstacles, though, is that they can help us find our real skills and gifts. Sometimes they make us dig deep and find strength we didn't know we had. And when we come out on the other side, we're not just winners, we've changed. Don't run away from a task the next time you come across one. Accept it. Take it for what it is, a chance to learn, grow, and become the best version of yourself. Remember that difficulties aren't meant to destroy us. They're meant to find us and show us how great we are. Let's accept challenges with open arms as we go through the ups and downs of life. Let's meet them not with fear, but with interest and thrill. That's because we know that every task comes with a chance that should be taken. Let's step up to the task, make problems into opportunities, and plan our own future of ourselves. Let us now think about where we are now and where we want to go. We've talked about the amazing power of self-discipline, how habits can change your life, and the chances that come with difficulties. We've learned a lot about what it means to be human and found truths that can help us become great. But this trip isn't over yet. In fact, it's only just starting. Every day brings new problems to solve and chances to grow. Also, let's remember that we are not alone as we keep pushing ourselves to do our best. We are a part of a group of people who think and do, who seek and achieve. We can do more than we thought was possible when we work together. We can get past any problem and reach any height if we work together. We can make the world a better place if we work together. Let's make a promise to stick with this journey, to go after our dreams, and to always strive for the best. We should welcome the problems that come our way, knowing that they are not obstacles, but steps on the way to success. Also, let's never forget the amazing power we all have within us. We have the power to make our greatest dreams come true, to change our lives, and to change the world. Okay, friends. Now I want you to take the next step on this path of self-discovery and change. Let's push ourselves to finish it one day at a time until we hit our fullest ability. When we think back on this path, let's be proud that we gave it our all, didn't leave anything out, and had the courage to dream. Because of that, we changed the world. Friends, the journey goes on. Let's make the trip worthwhile.